What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be finally doing an update video on the best SMG for hardcore game modes. Now I know a lot of you guys have probably seen my somewhat recent video where I went over what the best SMG in hardcore is. I went over the different range values and all of the other different stats that I feel were applicable to hardcore for the SMGs. Unfortunately, that was a video that I created before I left for my week-long vacation, and it was scheduled to be uploaded while I was gone. And while it was being scheduled, we actually got this big patch that changed a few things that are pretty important to figuring out what the best SMG is in hardcore. So unfortunately, when that video actually finally went live for you guys, which I couldn't change because I was gone, a few of the key stats were actually outdated immediately. So therefore, I decided to make this updated video for you just to make sure you guys have the most current and correct stats for hardcore. So first off, I want to just cover the stats that remained identical as far as I can tell, at least with the recoil. The recoil seems to be identical for all the guns, nothing seemed to have changed at all, and the rate of fire is also completely identical. There was no changes whatsoever to rate of fire for SMGs. Now something that did change is the handling stats, so sprint out and aim down sight time. Here are the pre-patch handling stats that were presented in that video, and basically there were like 4 different categories, and the Razorback was the clear winner, and then there were a few close seconds, and then there was finally the slow category. Now they essentially just split it up into the fast handling and the slow handling SMGs. And for the fast handling SMGs, they were all just brought up to the level of the Razorback. So the Razorback technically wasn't nerfed in this area, it was simply the other ones were brought up to its level. So as you can see, the Pharaoh, the Vesper, and the Weevil are now all identical as far as sprint out and aim down sight time to the Razorback. And the Kuda, VMP, and HG40 just remained in that slower category. Moving on to the one-shot kill ranges, there were only 2 guns that were changed, and right now what you're looking at is the pre-patch SMG, so this is what was presented in the video. The only 2 that were changed were the Kuda and the Razorback. They brought both of their one-shot kill potential down to the level of more of the other SMGs. One thing that's really interesting is the HG40 did not get touched, so now technically the HG40 does have the longest one-shot kill potential, but also keep in mind it does have that slow rate of fire as well as somewhat unpredictable recoil. So this change, in my mind, it doesn't really make the Razorback or the Kuda like completely useless by any means. It just sort of brings them down to a more balanced level where they fit in with the other SMGs. So now overall, with these changes that were made, I would say there are no longer any super clear winners as far as the best gun in hardcore. It used to be the Razorback basically won every single category, but not anymore. A bunch of the other SMGs have been brought up to its level, and as far as range goes, it's been brought down to their level. So now we basically don't have a clear winner in this category, and pretty much any of the SMGs are very viable in hardcore. Now personally, I'm not a really big fan of the Vesper in hardcore, simply because it's almost always going to be a 2-shot kill. And even though it has a super high rate of fire, the fact that it has so much recoil and everything just basically cancels that out. And therefore, I don't really like the Vesper. I'm not saying it's unusable. Every gun's usable in hardcore. But now there are definitely a lot more viable choices to use versus the Razorback. So that's going to wrap it up for today's really quick updated video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys next time.